Fantastic. I promised to record this because I had people going, hey, I need that call. And I'm excited about it to do this call because there's a few days left of the month. Now, I just want to start by saying, I remember years ago when we were on our last day and we wanted to be director. And there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. We didn't have Zoom, we didn't have live, we didn't have any of that. But at the beginning of that day, we needed 8 business partners at the time. That would be like 8 ultimate kits. And yet, by the end of that day, right before midnight, we got it done. And that was JP and I split up. Our upline split up and everybody was out doing meetings and working with the team, and we got a lot done in the last period of time. And after the event, I don't know if there's ever been more activity in the team. I know I've been talking to a lot of the leaders, and their phones are ringing off the hook and people are booking meetings and getting people there. And the excitement can do a lot. You can get really excited and people can feel the excitement and they almost can't say no. But then there's a lot of people who have been saying, okay, what am I going to say to this person? What am I going to say to that person? What am I going to do here or there? And that's what this call is about. Because there's a lot of people who have been wondering, I need to get more meetings. That's what they know. Definitely, this business is a numbers game. You know, if you need to get 1,000 credits in, let's say that you need 1,000 credits to hit gold. Well, you need about 2 ultimate kits if you have 200% this month. And think about that. That's like $1,000 bonus. And if you know that you need 2 partners, well, then if you close 1 out of 3, then you would need to talk to 6 potential partners. If you close 1 out of 4, then you would need to talk to 8 potential partners. It's a numbers game. So we just need to get those numbers up, and we need to talk to more people. Some people think, well, I've talked to 2 people. Doesn't mean that it's that. So it's a numbers game. We need more people. We need more people in your pipeline. Peter Sorensen once said, you know, if you had 5 meetings a day, then you would be glad that some of them said no, because you couldn't start up 5 people every day all the time anyway, right? So we want to have more people closing. We want to have more people having more meetings. So one of the hiccups people have been talking to us just since the event here is, okay, I need to have more meetings, but I've got this list. Now the list is one thing, you know, and I think if we back it up, sometimes you need your why in place, then you need a list. And a lot of you have been working on that why. Some of you have even sent me your dream board, and I'm like, I love it. So you get that why in place, and I even had one gal say, I finally made a dream board where I got tears in my eyes over it. Then I know she's got the right things on her dream board. And then making a list, and making a list long. And remember, if you've been in the business, those people that you've talked to before, they're still on your list. Just because somebody said no at one point, no. We've got this. We've got a whole new company. They need to hear an update. Some of them just need to hear an update. So contacting people. I'm going to say a few things. Then what I would like to have is that some people say, okay, I've got this friend that I'm thinking of, and I know her from work, and she's a nice gal. We go for lunch once in a while, and I'm not exactly sure how I would bring it up to her. Another person, you might say, okay, they know I do Zinzino, and I've showed that to them. What should I say here? Or another person might say, you know, find somebody on your list. And so think of those people, and we'll brainstorm. I might have an idea. One of the rest of you might have an idea. And we're going to talk together about it. So we get all those names on our list that we're going to make sure we know what to be saying and what to be doing to set up a meeting with them. Okay? Sound good? Thumbs up if it's okay with you. Okay, I see lots of thumbs up here. And I know some of you are walking dogs and all, so hey, Scooby. I'm just making fun with Arlo here. I know he's out walking. Okay, so to begin with, if you're a brand new person, the first thing that you have done then is start making your name list. And we want you to, the easiest way to do that is take out your phone, go to your contacts, and because you already have the phone numbers, write them into your long list. You'll probably have over 100 names. Some will have many hundreds. And if you're needing more on that list, go to your Facebook page. You probably have lots of hundreds on there too. But after you've got that list, usually what we talk to a brand new person about is how to invite for a brand new person. And what I would say to them, and what I've been saying for 8 years, has been something to the effect of, hey, what are you doing here on Thursday? And giving them a time. Sometimes I give them 2 times. What are you doing on Wednesday or Thursday? Should we get together? Wait for their response. Because they're the people I know. They're the people I usually get together with. So once they say, well, I'm busy on Thursday, but I can get together on Wednesday. Great. How about if we get together after work for you? Can we meet over at the Caribou Coffee over there in Rogers? Sure. Okay, great. Well, when we get together, I'm excited to talk to you about a business that I've got started, and I'd love to get your opinion of. Most of the time they'll say, well, tell me what that's about. And I'll say, would it be okay if we talk about it when we get together anyway on Wednesday? And 99% of the time they say, sure, I'll see you then. That way is a way that's duplicatable. Everybody can book. You don't even have to know much about Zinzino. You could have signed up today and still been able to book a meeting that way. And it doesn't give anybody a funny feeling. They know they're going to see something. They're excited to hear about what you're excited about. And that's the way we can book the first 100 meetings. So that's one way of booking. Then there's other ways that you can be booking meetings too. But before I go into that, just simply, you can also do other things. I know some people are talking to people about, hey, are you interested in your health? Because pretty much everybody says yes to that answer. Almost everybody. Well, great, then we should talk. When do you got time to get together? I'm open on Thursday or Friday. That way they know they're going to hear something. You book a time then too. Those are ways that you would book with the people that you know, people that you're used to getting together with anyway. And I would say choose the people that you want to work with, the fun people that you'd like to be working with, because that way you get the first people in are the people that you're going to enjoy building this business with. Okay, so that's the basics. That's for people who are new. That's if you've got a new list. Now, I know that some people have been in the business for a while and they're struggling with what should they say. Most of the time, I have a couple things that I call as like kind of some basic rules about things. If there's any way I can make it more personal, I do. For example, if you're going to talk to somebody, the best way, if you're seeing them in person at some time, in person is always, it's always the best, isn't it? You always have the most connection. This is a relationship business. It's not about blasting a whole bunch of people. It's a relationship business. They want to know that they're special, So in many ways, I say something in regards to, hey, I was thinking of this and thought of you. But in person, then it would be the next best thing could be a video thing where you can see them. The next thing would be a phone call when you talk to them. The next thing would probably be a text message or something, because or an email, which is the least personal sometimes. So I think all of them, there's a level of intimacy with people. The closer, the most intimate you can is the best way to do things. Okay, those are some of my things. No, I don't want this to be, here's the Carla show. I want it to be that we're sharing ideas. So this is where, if you need to just unmute yourself and ask different questions. You can ask about certain people you have on your name list and say, okay, what would I say to this person? This is a person like this. And then we share about things. Or make a comment about what you are doing that's working for you, because I know some of you are doing different things where you're booking for parties. Some of you want to save some time having parties. So ask, what are we doing for this? What are we doing for this? Ask somebody specific. Go ahead and unmute yourself and start asking.
I just want to mention I was talking to Angie at the event, and she shared something with me that's been working really well with her customers. She's having a customer appreciation party.
Mm-hmm.
Is she on the call? I guess I got to look here.
She's on here. She's busy too, but she's on here. I don't know if she can unmute herself. She might.
I thought that was great.
Yes, and having customers over has been great. I know Tricia has done the same thing because her parties that you're having, you're inviting your customers too, the ones that already were there. That way you can talk more about things, and sometimes you're getting people to buy more products. I was there for one of those. Angie, did you want to go more in depth on what Arlo was saying? Or Tricia?
Hey, Carla, sorry. Arlo, you got me here. Put me on the spot.
That's what I do.
I'm trying to multitask. I'm still working here. So, but yeah, so I read Sarah Robbins' book, How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business. And I've made it a point that every book that I'm reading, I'm implementing at least one thing. And the thing she mentioned in there was that her and her team do like customer appreciation events or parties, like once every quarter. And so we actually, a couple of us got together and we said, we're going to try this and see how it works. And so we actually had one here a couple of weeks ago, and we all invited our customers, our current customers, and we asked them or suggested to them to bring guests. And then we did like extra incentive. If you brought a guest, you got your name in a drawing for, a prize. And we had a bunch of guests show up, or customers, and we had some of them who brought guests with. And then we also had people who had been a customer at one time who maybe, forgot the benefits of it and they came back. And then also I had 2 customers who said, next time that we have one, can I have it at my house? So it was a lot of fun. And we kept it really informal. But we had customers who wanted to share their stories of what the products have done for them. And it was really fun. People, maybe it was a product, somebody heard of a product that they weren't on or they hadn't tried yet. And so they're like, hey, I should get on that product. And so it was really fun. We had some people, some new customers sign up. We had some people get started on other products. So it was really great. And it was a lot of fun.
And the customers also felt special. And
yes,
it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a key word, making it fun, right?
Absolutely. We just had, we had some healthy snacks. We had some fruit and veggie trays and then some water and it wasn't fancy. It was fun, like you said. And so I would recommend people to try it.
And I like what you said about keeping it simple, because if you did a big spread or something, then your customers would say, ooh, I can't make all that and do all that. You want it to be simple so that they can duplicate it and they think, oh, okay, well, everything doesn't have to be perfect here and I can do that. So very key things. Tricia, I know you have the same kind of thing about it. Oh, let's unmute you here. There we go. I got you unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, I've had a few of them, and yeah, people come, and I've had customers come just to hear more about it because they like to hear more. And so I've had, a few people like that. I thought it would be fun to have a customer appreciation and go over the like the test, to explain the test, have people bring their test, and we would talk about each category of the task and see if they have any questions, because I think that's something that people often, are uncertain about.
And I remember too that one of your customers became a partner after she learned more.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I think one of the things, since this is about booking meetings, what did you guys say to get people to your meetings?
Well, what I say is that we're talking about health and test-based nutrition, health in our foods and test-based nutrition. Common,
and
it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. I knew you'd say that, and it'll be fun. And actually, that's what's fun. And your customers are also the ones that are participating and telling their stories too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have partners come and bring their, their potentials, and yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that made it success. Like Angie did too. There was a few people that got together and did it together, so that there was more than one and had a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's one thing that people can do. And for those of you who have a very busy schedule, sometimes parties like that make a difference. Okay, so other things that people are doing that are successful or having success with, or if you have a question, bring up some person that you want to be talking about, and let's talk about how we're going to invite that person to see the business or make a comment. Okay, crickets here.
I got a comment, Carla.
Oh, good, Jeff. You got a comment. Go ahead.
I've been trying to get a hold of this guy about setting up a meeting, and I finally touched base with him tonight. And he said, does this have something to do with Zinzino? I said, yes, it does. And he said, well, I don't think I would be interested in, in something like that. And I said, well, you know what? I've been trying to get together, go out to dinner with him and talk to him about it. I said, I tell you what, with no strings attached, I said, let's get together and I'll explain to you what we do and about your health and stuff. And you take it from there. If it interests you, great. If it don't, well, that's okay, but at least you know. But so when I said no strings attached, maybe for you may not, say something like that. Got the meeting booked, going out for dinner next Wednesday night, and I told him we'll spend a half an hour talking Zinzino and then have fun the rest of the time. So,
those are a lot of key things in what you just said. First of all, you're following up with someone again and again, not just, you're waiting to talk to them. And I think people do have this feeling of, okay, if you're going to try to sell me something, I don't want to know, is information or whatever. There's something about a key thing is people don't always remember all the things that you say. People remember the feeling of the meeting. But they'll also remember when they're booking the meeting how they feel. So if they feel uncomfortable, they're going to be listening like this instead of leaning forward, listening to you. So I like what you say, because a lot of people also know that I'm doing a direct sales business by now. But I also use the wording, I don't know if it's going to be something for you or not, but let's take a look at it together and find out. Plus, it's been a while, so we get to spend some time catching up.
Yeah.
So I always build on the relationship. Build on the relationship that you have. I like to mention that. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
What I like, what just got brought up, is leave them an out. You don't have to be holding them by the throat and You know what I mean? Let them go. If give them the feeling that it's okay to say no, because maybe the chances they won't say no because they'll see that it's really quite simple.
They're leaning forward when you're telling them, I don't know if it's for you or not. Then they lean forward saying, okay, well, because they do have that out. Yes, Mark. Okay, does anybody have certain examples that they would like to, that they've got somebody on their list and they're wondering, I would really like to talk to this person. I'm not quite sure what I would say. Do you have somebody on your name list you're thinking of? Yes, Val.
I have a question regarding if you come up and visit with some people in the medical field and you really want to present what we have, not present, but chat with them about what we have to offer them and their customers. But when they bring up the topic as, is it FDA approved? How is a good way to remark or to come back with a statement on that?
See, the FDA doesn't approve supplements in the same way because it's the Drug Administration. So they're not, and we're not a drug, you know, we're an all natural supplement. So I would say FDA does not approve that, but the FDA, we have to get through that they're approved to come into the country, you know. So in that sense, we're approved to come into the country.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because FDA does not approve any supplements. It's not like that they stamp it.
So how do you get those people interested enough to listen then?
I think the health professionals are like everybody else. And sometimes, you know, you look for the interest in people. Sometimes they don't have an interest, and the one thing that we can make the mistake of is trying to get everybody we're talking to involved. And it's not, because it really pulls us down if we're trying to, you know, backtrack and convince somebody. When I say, you know, when I'm talking to a health professional, I say, you know, I love the fact that these products also are backed by science. And I sometimes say it's life science, you know, because it really is, like Dr. Paul says, the science is the science. You can't get around the fact that these are proven. Plus, there's a lot of studies that prove it. Like just our Viva alone has 6 clinical studies on that, you know. That's not bad. So I do say things like that. Sometimes health professionals, when they're really interested, they perk up and say, oh, it's test-based. Okay, yeah, it's so I'm answering their questions. And one of the things that I feel that is good to be doing is always asking the questions, like, are you interested in your health? Because usually people are saying yes. And I said, oh, okay. What do you do for your health? Because that way they're talking. They'll talk, well, I think about what I eat. Oh, what do you eat? What do you think about, what do you do for that? And let them talk. People like to talk, so let them do the talking. And usually if they're talking enough, well, I try to eat right and I do take some supplements. What kind of supplements do you take? And I keep going from that. And I listen to what they're saying. And at some point I'm able to get something in there in regards to, well, you know, would you, if I had something that could actually let you know if what you're eating is getting you there, would you want to know about it? Because you can ask a question, would you want to know? And that way they can say yes or no. Well, in our company, we do a blood test, because the thing that's in Xeno is separated from everybody else's is that blood test.
Right.
Have you heard of the food test? And when they're like, food test, do you mean the allergy test? I've had that many times. No, the one that is telling you what your food is doing for your body, or what your diet is doing for your body. You know, and so you're getting that conversation going, because there's a big difference in health professionals. Some health professionals are extremely interested. We have doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners and chiropractors, so quite a few different ones that are interested in listening in, and then they see it. other ones, they're already closed because you're not going to know more than they do.
Right.
And so let's not try to convince everybody that this is the best. Or
Right.
sometimes I'll say, you know, it separates because of the test, but I say, well, actually, we listened to Dr. Paul Clayton. Have you ever heard of him? And many times I carry his Let Your Food Be Your Pharmaceutical Nutrition book in either my car, and if I'm going anywhere, in my purse, and I can take it out and say, this is it. And they go, oh, that's really interesting. And I might borrow them the book, because
Okay.
that way something else is doing the work. Anybody
Right.
else have a comment on what they do for health professionals? Then you must be thinking the same thing I am.
Yeah. We just signed up two chiropractors last night as customers,
Mhm.
and we led with the blood test because you got to put yourself in their shoes. They have a lot of customers. They have a lot of clients, and every one of them are trying to, if they're in direct sales, they're trying to sell them on something, right?
Right.
And that's where we got to use what makes us unique, which is the blood test. They love the idea of the blood test. So what I did is I actually gave them free blood testing, and they got their numbers back. That's what got them involved in becoming customers.
Okay. No, that's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah, and then they're going to take that blood test then and pay it forward to some of their clients that they care about, and so on and so on and so on, and we'll start doing seminars in their clinics.
And
Awesome.
chiropractors
Good job.
already know about omega-6 balance. Chiropractors are great, and they're easy to talk to in regards to that. They know nutrition. They work with that. They work with inflammation. So in other areas, I'm always asking questions and getting to that blood test. But it depends on where they're at. I don't try to convince them if they're old or anything like that. But talking, open, asking questions. And
Thank you so much.
That the test is what separates us. Okay. Does anybody have another case? Like, I have this person I'd like to talk to.
I would like to tell a story of a person that I helped bring aboard that, Carla, you were very much a part of. But in the trades, got to a conversation with someone who really felt that they knew everything there is about natural health, and they were doing tons of different things. And over time, I got to a point with this person where it came down to, are you willing to put your money where your mouth is and prove that you are in balance? And it came to a yes. He was. And so it had to do with the test. You know, I offered the test for free. I would pay for it. But if he was 3-to-1 or better, the company would actually pay for the test. But I said, I'm going to take a chance. I said, if you are 6-to-1 or better, I will still pay for the test. But if you are under that, then you pay for the test. Do we have an agreement? And he took me up on it, and that led to the whole meeting with Thomas.
Mm-hmm. But I also think that there was one more thing that was instrumental in that, is sometimes when you get to know somebody, there is something about bringing another person with, because that way you can edify an upline, and that's what you did. I'm closest, so you said, hey, Carla, could you meet with this person? And we were able to have an extremely exciting conversation about it when 2 people to 3 people are sitting together and we're all passionate about health. And we talk about things, and again, the science is the science, you guys, as Dr. Paul says. So everything we were talking about was the same thing, and we were complimenting what each other said all the time. Well, what about, that we love, and kept complimenting each other. And it gets to be something else when you're having an upline with. So a lot of the people that you know, one of the key aspects is bringing along another person to your meeting or having somebody else there. In regards to some of the home meetings, they're having more than one partner there so that more partners can tell their story. Many times, if you feel comfortable, you're already silver, If you're not quite silver yet and you're very new, the best thing you could be doing is bringing with an upline to your meetings. And if you're in another state, I know some of you on here are in another state, grab different upline so that you can see how different people are doing it. You know, that way you get different views of it until you're silver. Because once you're silver, you can build this business. I mean, a crown is just a whole bunch of silvers. So bring your upline with at the beginning to do meetings with you. That way you can watch. And when you're brand new, that you're just sitting there and following along and watching. Because you could, you know, a new person is actually watching you. They know you. They don't, if I was the one involved, they don't know who I am from anybody. So they're watching you. So if you're listening in on the meeting for your first times, you don't have to say anything because your friends are watching you and saying, okay, well, if I'm going to do this meeting, you're going to do meetings for me, and you're just sitting there. I can do that. They're saying, I can do that. This is great. But then, like, even in that case, Mark could have done that meeting. Mark knows enough about this business, but yet he chose to bring me along. And so it was both Mark and I were able to explain our stories and talk and then add on to each other to where this person, it makes a difference to have more than one person there. So bringing an upline with, and sometimes it's just a validation. You're out there doing a meeting, a third-party validation is actually extremely important. So you're doing a meeting, and let's say that you're going to do a meeting at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. You're going to be at the Caribou Coffee. You've set up 2 meetings. I like to do more meetings in a row because that way you're using your time better. And you might say, hey, you know, your upline's Arlo. Arlo, I'm going to be having a meeting at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and he knows that, so he'll be ready to be your third-party validator. And, you know, so when you're having the meeting, at some point, you find something to be able to bring in that third-party validation. Say, hey, could you just jump on and tell your story? And then you set it up. So let's say you're talking about things and they're asking questions or whatever about the product. You can say, hey, Arlo, thanks for coming on. You know, I'm sitting here with John, and John had a question about if the products really work. Would you just tell your experience? And then Arlo can talk to that person about that. Or it could be something else. You know, Arlo, we were just talking about if you can really make this amount of money. You're Diamond, could you explain a little bit about making money? Or you're setting it up, but you're just getting that third-party validation in there. So that's another important part in doing meetings. As long as you're silver, you can do those meetings, but pull in a third-party validator too, or have a person there. Either way, those are important things. Now, Mark could have done that in that case, but he chose to do that, which I think was one of the instrumental things too in signing up different people.
Absolutely needed you there, Carla. You know that.
Well, it's not that you don't have the knowledge for it. I mean, it could
No.
be the same thing. I bring
But
in
it is
third-party
validation.
myself.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome.
Yep. Okay, anything more about some other people? Come on, we've got lots of people out there, I'm sure. Don't be shy about saying, okay, what would I say in this instance? What would I say in this case? I'd love to get some actual people. You don't have to say the person's name, but let's say, okay, I'm going to talk to this person. I'm not quite sure what to say here. And if we don't have anybody, I'm going to give a couple examples anyway. Okay, looks like I'm going to be giving a couple examples, you folks. Okay, wait a minute. I see Debbie waving. Yes, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Thank you.
I have a friend that she had some heart problem. She actually had heart surgery like a year ago.
Mhm.
Okay. And her husband is also having some problems. When I called her, it wasn't the right time because he had just gotten out of the hospital. But I don't know her. I know her, but I don't know her really well. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't talk to her. I maybe talk to her twice a year.
Mhm.
I just wonder how to start the conversation. Is it time yet? You know, how do I approach her? I mean, I'm going to have to call her She
Mhm.
did give me her phone number.
Mhm.
But I just don't know how to start this, because I don't want her to be turned off by it either, like I'm pushing.
I'm glad that you have those feelings because that is so important. It's a relationship business, and sometimes it's about building the relationship. As Art says,
Mm.
make friends, help your friends, make more friends, help those friends, And
Mm.
sometimes if we are about going to sell something, people can feel that. And
Yeah.
so that's why it's more about being a friend at sometimes, you know. Uh,
Mhm. Mm.
I'll give a couple examples here. When I came back to the US, I hadn't been here for about 25 years. Some people, it was about getting together and, reconnecting. Hey, we haven't seen each other for a long time, um, let's go out for dinner one day, or let's go for lunch one day, and actually being interested in them, and building that relationship. Some people, if I would have said, hey, let's go out for dinner sometime, they would have thought, aren't you married? And what is going on? And what's happening? And why are you inviting me out for that? Because it would have been weird. And like I said, people remember the feeling of a meeting. So with some people like that, I say, I actually called some of them that were business owners, and I said, or wrote with some of them, depending on my level of connection with them, and said, hey, I'm starting a business here. I know that you're a business person. I respect that. So I could really use your opinion on some of the things that I'm doing in regards to the business that I'm starting. Plus, it's been a while since we've seen each other. It'd be great to get caught up. So I used the relationship anyway in that instance. So there's differences in where you're going to connect with them. In that instance, it kind of depends. The connection that you have with that person. If it is building the relationship, because then I would say you might want to get together where you're not talking Cinzino. And it might be, if it is because of that, being thoughtful, as Art said over the weekend, is most important in this. Not strategic, but thoughtful. Saying, I heard that your husband was having heart issues, and I was really concerned for you. And maybe because a lot of people are, they listen to their doctors and all, but it might be that I've heard that was happening. I was just thinking of you or praying for you, or, just sending that and saying, hey, if you want to go for coffee someday, I'd love to go for coffee with you. If
Mhm.
that's the type of relationship you have. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think it's very good to have things up front if it's because that's what your intentions are of being upfront. That way they can say yes or no to that, saying,
Mhm.
I was thinking of you because, I work with a company that has things that are proven to be, the best, what you can be taking for the heart for supplements, and that way you're being upfront and saying, hey, and if you'd like to hear more about it, let's go for coffee, and hey, I'll give.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus I'd like to hear about how it's going. So I think it depends on the relationship and what you're planning on doing, because I think it's really good to lead with the relationship in that.
Yeah, I know she has horses too, so that's our connection.
That's a good connection. Yes. Well, people who are crazy about horses, maybe we need to do something else. Invite her to something to get her away for one of the horses, or going out and looking at something, or, find that connection.
Yeah.
But building the relationship is an extremely important thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'll give me some ideas.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And does anybody else have other ideas? We don't have to just stop at mine. Oh, go ahead, Jeannie. Hey.
I do, Carla.
Hi. Welcome in from Alaska. Go ahead, Jeannie.
Okay, the video keeps stopping and the sound keeps turning off on my connection.
Oh, okay. Well, we can hear you pretty good.
I met this young girl a while back, and just here and there connection. And so last time I saw her, I asked her, well, can I be friends with you on Facebook? And she's a dynamic woman that was hooked on drugs and is cleaned herself off the drugs. She's raising some of her kids. She has 6 altogether that she's raising, but they're not all hers. They're other family members.
Oh, what a good thing.
And she posts her struggles, and so I made it a point to always say something positive about what, at least you've started. So what if you had to take a step back, or at least, something positive to her about what she's doing for herself and her kids. So she doesn't have any money, but I really want to make a deeper connection and talk to her about this.
So again, being thoughtful. I
Maybe
have
she
the same
could build
thing.
her business instead of having 2 jobs.
Yeah. And
Huh?
I think exactly what you were saying is a great way to start with her,
Okay.
Many times I'll say, speaking from the heart, you're always speaking the right language.
Yeah, and I feel that I am.
I can hear you are. I hear you doing it right. And sometimes
Right.
just saying, I was,
So another question, the video has stopped, so I don't know if you're still talking.
Oh, go ahead.
But has anybody had any experience? Has anybody having any experience with the Viva and with anxiety attacks?
Okay, well, let's do both of these questions first, though. So speaking about
Okay,
this gal,
all right.
I would start with that, and then people don't get a lot of appreciation and recognition and pats on the back. They don't have a lot of that in their life. Most people don't. So
Right.
when you are being that positive light in somebody else's life, it attracts people too. So if you're saying, I'm thinking of you, I've been, even if you're talking about what you've been doing and raising your children and working 2 jobs, and I was just thinking of you the other day when I was going, with the business that I'm in, and if you had a half hour, I'd love just to sit down with you. And again, don't force it, but just say, I was thinking of you. I don't know if this is going to be for you or not, but maybe we should take a look at it together and find out.
And so should I, when I make an appointment with her for that time, should I have a third party come in on Zoom, or just talk to her a little on my own first and then set up a Zoom meeting with someone else?
Now, the reason we pull in a third party validation is to have somebody else they don't know.
Right.
You usually have the person who has a connection with them, and then a person who's either the messenger or the expert. In the case when you
Right.
don't know them very well, it'd be weird to have a third party come in. But
Right.
when you're talking with them, you could let your upline know and just say, hey, Alex, I'm going to be talking to this young gal here at 3:00. I'll be at the Caribou, and I might want to be pulling you on, because that way you can say to her, and just being thoughtful, say, I've seen that you're working 2 jobs, and I see that, you've been doing such an amazing job with your kids. And I was just thinking of you during this week, because our company came out with some great bonuses, and I don't know if it would be for you, but then you can explain to her about what Zinzino is doing or about the company. And then at some point she might have a question, and sometimes you might even know the answer, but just for her to meet one other person on the line, and it might be Angie,
Right.
depending on the upline that you feel would connect with them. You're in that line, so those
Right.
are some of your upline. And that way you could say, I know a gal who is really working on this, and she's a mom too. And then just to pull, just have her on, and that 5 minutes can make that difference in pulling somebody on to be a validator
Right.
for you. And again, if
Right.
people aren't interested in our business, it's okay. It might be something that you follow up on until they're saying, and just to be a friend and make
Yeah.
friends and help your friends. Keep making those friends, and you're putting them in that pipeline. So I think that's a great idea.
All right.
Okay, in regards to Viva, I might want to save that for another time, because otherwise we'll start
Okay.
telling stories. And
Right.
when Zinzino partners get together and start talking their products, we're never going to be done.
Well, my only reason why is this lady has a lot of anxiety. And so I have plenty of Viva, and I thought maybe I would offer her a free pack to try.
Sounds
But
like
I don't know that much
fantastic
about
idea.
anxiety.
No, but I think that's a great idea and a very thoughtful idea. Yes. I think that sounds like a great
All right.
idea for her. And just so that she
Yeah.
also knows that you're being thoughtful.
Yeah. All right.
Fantastic.
It's a good
Okay,
idea. Thank you very much.
sure. And thank you for asking. Does anybody else have more questions that they would like to get answered, or another person they're thinking about how would I ask this person?
I want to talk a minute about Viva, if I may.
I think we need
Yeah.
to talk, we're talking about inviting on this one, so is it okay if we talk about the products on other ones? Otherwise, we'll start talking about stories, dear.
Okay, I was just going to say the sample thing. Only 6 tablets in many cases is enough for them to try.
Yeah,
That's all.
okay, fantastic. Yeah, they don't need a whole package, they could just be doing samples. Okay, does anybody else have like other questions about how would I talk to this person? Oh, Nana, yay!
You know, Carla, we get asked all the time what we say, but I want to hear another take on it. To connect with old classmates, maybe that you haven't seen in a while, but you're maybe friends with them on Facebook or whatever. How do you start that? How do you start that conversation? I mean, in some cases, we haven't seen them for over 40 years.
Yep, we had our 30th class reunion also. And again, personally, some of them I know were business people. I asked them directly about their business and love to get their opinion about the business I'm bringing to the area. And some of them, I watch their Facebook, I comment on their Facebook, I follow along, and I'm actually looking for a need. You know, we've had classmates in my age, I'm 51, and they're having hip replacements and they're going through health issues, and some of them have cancer, and there's a lot of health issues going on, or somebody had a health scare. And sometimes it's using the need in this. Like, there's a need out there, let's grab the need and pull it in, So sometimes I say, I was just noticing, I might send a personal message. Hey, I noticed your post on this. And one time I had one of our, an older classmate from my junior high that I was friends with, who was always posting on Mondays. Ugh, Mondays again. I hate Mondays. And I knew it's because he's not real happy with what he is doing. So I made a comment to him about, I've noticed that you've been commenting on your Mondays in regards to your job. I said, I'm working in something. I don't know if it would be for you or not, but maybe we should take a look at it together and find out, and plus it'd be fun just to catch up and see what you're doing. I'll bring along my hubby. You could bring along your wife, because I didn't want him to think something other. And we did. He talked with his wife on there. I talked with JP. We were getting caught up. We told a little bit about it. The timing wasn't right at the time, but he and I still comment on each other. I'm still being thoughtful on his Facebook. And at one point I was able to say, hey, is it getting time to get caught up again? And actually, now that you mention it, now would be a good time for me to do that. Say, hey, we need to, I would be doing this with the people some of them that I've been talking to for a while and just following up. Now is the time with what Zinzino just launched. I've been writing to people, hey, now's the time to get caught up. You won't believe what's going on right now. I've been writing that to more than one person. Hey, now's the time to get caught up again. And I think now that you mentioned that with him, I think that's going to be my next line. Hey, now's the time. But it depends. For me, it's being thoughtful, finding needs a lot. And the more people in the pipeline you have, the more people that are going to come out. It's about the number of meetings. So the more meetings, the more people you put in, things are growing. when we're talking about Zinzino, we said how crazy it was in July last year to this year. They grew 47%. Well, just yesterday, Hilda told us, or was it the day before, when I was talking with Hilda, she said already in August, Zinzino has already grown 55%. And that was a couple of days ago before the end of the month yet. Whoa, anybody whose business is like, this is crazy what other places. And now with what's launched for the United States, now is the time to be contacting people. So some of them, we just need to follow up that way. Let's contact them. So how are you guys doing that with older people that you haven't seen in a long time? Some of them I'm building a relationship. Sometime I'm finding the need. Some I'm asking directly, hey, you're in business. I'd love to get your idea. Plus, I'd like to get caught up with you. Anything different that you guys are doing, Jeff and Donna?
Call about classmates and say, hey, you were a loser in high school. Are you still a loser? Let's get together.
That's going to get a laugh.
Yeah.
Maybe not that. How about you were a winner in high school? Are you still a winner?
Well, they know me, so that they wouldn't buy that. So.
Yeah. You're funny.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work with everybody. If you knew Jeff in high school, yeah, that works. Yeah. No, I have been doing what you do, commenting very nicely. And to some of them I have said, I remember you in high school. I was a cheerleader. I contacted one of the old cheerleaders and just say, I remember us getting along so well in high school and yada, 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 let's catch up. So I haven't reached out with the question yet because I'd really like to catch up.
Mm-hmm. And
so,
I've done the same thing. Some of the old high school classmates, I haven't brought up Zinzino. And sometimes when I'm meeting them the first time and they say, well, what is this you're doing business? And I say, yeah, I would love to tell you more about it, but we haven't really got caught up. And if I know me, if we start talking, it's going to take another 15, 20 minutes and we don't have a long lunch. So how about if we talk about that another time? So tell me more about your daughter. You were telling me that she was and just I continue on because I want to build that relationship. And I don't want them to think that that's the only reason I'm getting together with them. Of course, I would think it'd be great, but your friends, it's a different level. Some of them you're building a relationship with, but I did have some that the reason I was contacting them was because of Zinzino. So I said, well, I know you're a businessman and I don't know if this would be for you, but we could, I'd love to get your opinion on it anyway. Plus, it's been a while since we've seen each other. Let's get caught up. And I think it's the thoughtfulness and that relationship that makes a difference. It's about setting up those meetings, just setting them up and having a lot of them so that you can be following up and having them in the pipeline. And sooner or later, they will come through.
Right.
And following up is extremely important too. And the people that some of you that have been in this business since the start, it opened here in Zinzino in 2014, the people that you talk to first, you need to talk to them. And some of the people that have been partners, you need to reconnect with them and say, hey, you've got to see what's going on right now. And again, it's the excitement. People can feel your excitement. So when they feel your excitement about something, it gets contagious. And they want to, they're like, what are you excited about? They want to know. It is contagious. Okay. I can't believe we've been talking almost an hour. In other words, I've been talking a lot. But I think it was an important topic. I think it's great. And some of you might end up having more questions afterwards. If you do, talk to your upline diamond and say, okay, what would you say in this instance? Or ask more than one. What would you say in this instance? Because sometimes it's just about, here's my list and I don't know what to say. Well, let's find some words that you can say. Because if you don't contact those people, it's an automatic no. And right now, if you want to grow your business, we need some yeses in there, guys. So let's get more yeses. And let's really get out there. you know, it's the end of the month, but many of you can still work at getting that 200%. Many of you can still hit a title. I mean, really, gold is still in the reach for many of you. One part, some of you, if you have some banking in there or something, some of you just need one partner or 3, you know, but it's everything's a possibility, you guys. Everything's a possibility right now. So don't miss out on it. Find out exactly what you need to hit that next level. It's definitely within reach. September is going to be great, but we're not done with August yet. And like I said from the start, when we started the day and needed the 8 partners, we got them that day. And from that day, I've learned it's never over till it's over. So Saturday, when it's the last day of the month and it's not until 5 p.m. Central Time, that's when it's over, you guys. Keep pushing because you can do a lot just this month. You've still got time. Okay, well, if that's everybody's questions, if you have anything afterwards, please ask, and let's get out there and pick up those phones. All of them. Start calling everybody. Let's keep calling. Hello, everybody. Fantastic, guys. I will post this because some people have been asking about it and wanting to get those clues of what they could say to book meetings. And you can even comment in there. Hey, I just tried this and this was working. So whatever you want to do, let's finish the month strong, guys. Okay? Okay, I'll unmute everybody. There we go. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.